All right, thanks for tuning in for today's live stream. It's Wednesday, so I'm working on Drupal 10 readiness. This is the fifth sponsored stream by Palantir. So thanks to Palantir for sponsoring this contribution stream. Palantir is a remote-first agile company that gives back to the Drupal project and community. Like this, they are the maintainers of Drupal Rector and have sponsored my time to work on it to get it ready for the Drupal 9 to Drupal 10 upgrade, which seems crazy to talk about, but it's next year. I believe it's next year. It's coming up. If you are looking for a job, they are hiring for a Drupal engineer. So go to www.palantir.net and learn more and apply today. So I want to cover up where we left off last week if you weren't here. So we now have Drupal 9 readiness or Drupal 9 capabilities. Before, it only ran on Drupal 8 code and found deprecated code and fixed deprecated code for Drupal 8. Now it supports running on Drupal 9 to get ready for Drupal 10. The first bit I worked on were from the top 10 Drupal deprecations. And while going through it, I realized all of these came from assertions inside of browser test base. And this makes sense. Before, a lot of the test assertions borrowed over from Simple Test, the old testing framework, and brought into PHP unit, kind of like a backwards compatibility layer, so everybody's tests didn't just automatically break. They're deprecated in Drupal 8, originally to be removed in Drupal 9, but it was just too big of a mess, so it's postponed for Drupal 10. So all of these live inside the Assert Legacy Trait class, or trait rather, it's a trait. And I copied a table from the change record that explains when these are deprecated. And simple test legacy assertions are deprecated in 9.1. They were officially said to be removed in Drupal 10. There's this full list. And as I was going, I started to knock out this list pretty quickly. We have tests in place now for all of this, so I was able to do PHP unit testing. So assert equal rector in here. Let's open that Rector class really quick. And even made a base class that made this even quicker to go through. It would transform assert equal to assert equals, which we see here. It's that quick conversion. We also have it set up that if the previous method was on the base class but needs to get called to assert session, we have that as well there. So that I did that in the last hour and was able to crank through most of these. So now I'll be going through the full list and writing rules and just going through all of it. Part of me was wondering if I should have just made a single rule for a lot of these. And actually, I'm thinking that might be a good idea, even like assert equal and assert same. So maybe we'll do a bit of refactoring here. To work on that. Because that would simplify quite a bit of this. So let's try that out. Let's make a new test because that's how I do with these. I always write my test first. Let's see. How would I want to call this? Local method. So it goes to another local method. Let's see. So let's do assert equal rector. That's what I was calling these rules, is assert equal rector. Let's create a new, we're gonna just copy this, make a new folder called, we'll just do assert legacy trait rector. We're gonna create a new thing called this, a new rule. So the new rule would be called assert legacy trait rector. I'm getting so tongue-tied because I think we don't need to make individual rules for all of this. It could just go through and tackle them name by name because it is pretty reproducible. But things that have this assert text that goes to response contains or text contains, or assert field by name, these are more complex. So I think we can, we'll want to keep those. Yeah, anything that's a one by one could be easily mapped. So let's copy this here. Where did I? So let's copy that name. And thanks for the follow. So let's rename this class, refactor code, rename the file to be assert test. And if you haven't caught these before, you create a configured rule, which I'm going to go ahead and paste for this non-existent class yet. And then you create various fixtures. So each fixture provides a sample and then the expected fix. So what I'm assuming we could do is copy in, let's rename this file. This is assert equal. Let's refactor and rename to assert equal. And this is assert identical, or rather it reverts it to assert same. So let's copy this file, paste it in here. We're going to call it assert identical. So with all this, we can remove some of these extra rectors and have it all in one rule is my idea here. Same with assert raw. We could do the same thing, but we'll keep that as is for right now. So let's just start working on making sure this actually can work. Now, if I run this test, it's going to fail because we don't have a rule that exists. Data provider is invalid. Oh, I have the invalid suffix. It needs to be .php.inc. So what the test does is this yield files from directory. It sources all the files inside the fixture directory and passes them. Rector rule is not found, so let's go ahead and create that rule. That's the whole point of test-driven development. You write the test first, then verify that it passes or fails, and then fix it. So we called it assert legacy trait rector. Let's make a new class here. The namespace is Drupal Rector deprecation. Final class, assert legacy trait rector. I did create a base class last time. Only thing is, we're not going to reuse this entirely, but I'm going to copy it. And because we don't, this is great for like one-to-one mapping, but I want to try to reduce having to create 5,000 different files. So we're going to extend abstract rector, follow the PSR2 code formatting. Let's say we'll use add comment trait because that's used in one of these. Somewhere it adds a comment, verify the assertion. All right, so we'll go through there. So let's go ahead and copy all of this here. And let's see, my first test, let's keep all of that. So my first test sample, we have assert equal and assert identical as the methods. So that's the source function. So let's go ahead and do private static mapping of this array. And we'll say assert identical. And we have the replacement is assert same. And assert session is false. Because it's not in the assert session, it's called directly. And we'll duplicate that to assert equal, which is assert equals. So then what we want to do is check if the name is in the array. So we will change this to be so if is set, if not is set, isset only works with variables and arrays. What does get name return? Null or string? A key exists. Why is it? Oh, parameter array. So key, and then the array, which is self mapping. Let's see. Do I need to do this? Okay, I don't need to do the mapping there. So what we can do is I wonder if we should do so replacement equals self mapping this get name node name, because we've asserted it exists. So if replacement comment, the only problem now is we have this magical array, and I don't know if I like having this magicalness. So let's see here. Let's see if we can do, what if we did comment equals replacement comment, and we'll default to that empty string if it's not present. And we can do is assertion method equals replacement assert session. We'll default to false if it's not present. And so if is assertion, and then replacement and replacement. Let's change it to method name. And this feels kind of icky to me. Just because it's another magic array with random data in it. But if I run that test again, contains one abstract method and must be therefore, for get rule definition. That's right, because it wants to have every rule definition. Let's skip this approach. We're just going to go with a file per each, as I've already spent 15 minutes on that. So let's just bail out and just start going. I'm going to go from the bottom of the list. So get all options. I believe last time I had a, let's go to Drupal sites core dev. And I need to make sure I have Drupal 9.0 checked out, because Drupal 9.1 had all the deprecations removed. So let's go find usages of get all options. Assert legacy trait here, which would be find usages. Why can't I see find usages? Oh, because it's indexing. All right, well, let's go ahead and start writing the rule. So we're going to do assert get all options rector.php and declare namespace Drupal rector deprecation rule. Oh, no. And final class assert get all extends assert legacy trait base. No, we need to, let's see. We need to just copy this part because it is not a assertion. It doesn't go into the assertion session. Wow, so if it's indexing here, it's not showing up all the fanciness over here. That's interesting. Mac, so fixes, get all options. So previously, get all options would look like, let's copy. Sure, why don't we do this? Let's just copy this line here. So the code used to be this, but it will transform into get all option elements, element, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this actually, this example is probably a doozy. Well, I guess not. Because it would just turn into appending this line afterwards to the parameter. Actually, this example is probably going to be one of the worst ones due to the complexity of it. Test get all options. Find usages. It's only reporting it here. Great. Unclassified usage. Core test that. Test UI. Let's get all options. Get all options list. And it's kind of broken while searching through there. So we'll just make do. So let's import the code sample class. And now we need to, oh wait, actually this is not something we can just do with the base class because it's more than, yep, actually I'm going to, oh shoot. We're going to skip this one because this one's actually going to be harder to do because it's not just calling another test method. So let's do get raw content. Assert content trait. Deprecated assert legacy test trait. It's not even in assert legacy test trait. Yes, it is. Never mind. It's here. Oh. All right, so let's just start there with get raw content. So assert get raw content. I'm just gonna copy and paste something. Get field by name. This is one that had more complexity to it. So get raw content rector. It's added. Get raw content. So deprecated method name is get raw content. And protected is deprecated session method equals false, or is assert session method, it's not. in there. So maybe this is another one that's a little bit more complicated. So I should pick my battles a little bit more intelligently here. Let's see if I can make this work though. So we replace it. So return create local method call to method name. All right. I'm going to ditch that too and just go for things that actually attach assert session and be a little bit better about my time. So these three require a little bit more work. So let's do build Xpath query. So build Xpath query Rector. I'm really wondering why we add Rector after everything, since we know it's a Rector rule and it's in that namespace. So build Xpath Rector extends assert legacy trait base. Let's go ahead and copy the rule. Just copy that in full. So let's find usages of this here. Perfect. We can just copy that. Copy this here too. Or rather, then it becomes this assert session build Xpath query. So it moved up into the assert session. So that's really easy. I'm just doing a copy paste in case I'm missing some method there. So we have that, but I need to write the test code for it. So let's do a copy paste. Let's create the new directory. This is honestly going to take the longest part, is creating all of these tests. It's a new directory, new file, test.php. Add it. Now I'm just going to copy the config and fixture. Actually, those don't even have. Fix that. So this is the build Xpath query. Here, remove this covers default class because that's been copy pasted and is broken. Configure the rule. It is the build Xpath query Rector. So we have the rule. Now we need to write the fixture, which can be based off of this. So let's look at, let's copy, or rather copy, paste. And we'll actually just copy the values from inside of our example. And then we can run it and see if it passes. So a little bit backward. Usually I write the rule first and then write the test first, then the rule, but oh well. All right, it's passing. So we've got the build path query. I'm going to go create a new branch. Get new branch. Remaining rules. All right, and I'm just going to commit as I go to remove the amount of green files that I see. So we've got 1, Now we can do assert header. And this, I think we could copy. Yeah, let's just copy this here. It's assert header. And we get the header, which goes into response header equals. Nothing found. So we'll just do example there. So there's that. Now let's go write the test. I copied this from assert response. So let's do the same. Let's just copy that. So it's assert header rector. Add. So assert header. We fix the namespace. Then we can refactor the test to rename it. It's renamed our file. And our fixture. One reason I was writing the test first is I could copy the example code, but either way I can just actually copy it from the rule definition. So we have that here. And now if I run the tests, that should pass. And if that passes, we'll move on to the next. Bummer. I had a guy that was selling microgreens and apparently they have stopped, which is like the third time I've had a microgreen vendor end up dropping out from doing the business, which is a bummer because I love my microgreens. All right, so the failure. Assert header turns into assert session and it returned. Oh, shoot. I know why. Because you also have, there's so much boilerplate code when writing these tests. That's probably like my one complaint. I wish there's an easier way. But now it should pass. It just didn't have the right rule registered. All right, there we go. So that is now. So one reason I'm also making a commit, sorry, a commit per rule is when I go to update this table, once I open the pull request, it'll be a lot easier to remember what I wrote. Because I can go through the commit list versus the files changed. So assert cache tag, no cache tag. Part of me is thinking that it would have been easier to write that mapper, but then to have like that single base class, but then the rule definition is even harder to change because you can't expose this easily, and this is supposed to help you document all the rules that are available. So again, we can do response header contains. Where was that? Assert header. We'll just copy this to assert no cache. We could probably write one, like we could probably combine these into multiple rules in here, but then it's harder to test. Assert no cache tag. Oh. assert no cache tag Rector. So we replace assert no cache tag with response header not contains. Let's go into our D9 code and see. So that's the parameter that gets copied over, and it should be response header not contains. So what I'm actually going to rename this to be oh. I'm wondering if this should just handle all of these in one and make life a lot easier. The problem is that I like having isolation in things. But you know what? Let's go ahead. And we're just going to, I'm just going to keep making a folder for each. We'll just make a folder for each. I'm curious how big the Rector tests. Where are the tests in here? Oh, I need to go to source. Tests. I don't remember where it is in here. Issues, issue annotation. I think it's under package. Oh, package tests. Notation, type mapper, printer. Testing package, PHP unit. Nope. Let's see what's inside the Symfony. Test, Rector. So yeah, so they do have the same thing where there's a bunch of folders. So I'll just keep going this approach. So assert header is going to be assert no cache tag, because then we can add more examples more easily for if there's anything that's never caught. Assert no cache tag Rector. Let's just go down the list. Configured rule should be assert no cache tag Rector. Simplify. Delete that. The rule, we'll get to, let's copy the example. So this is just a lot of busy work, but that's actually really exciting for the fact that it's going to make it real easy to contribute code for this. Yeah, I need to rename the file. And if I run it, it should pass. And just for kicks and giggles, I'll run the whole test suite. Cancel, I just want to do a commit. I don't want to push. So the next one is assert cache tag. So this is at least really easy. It's the flip flop of what we just did. So if I refactor, which is shift function F6, click OK. Go to the configured rule. Assert cache tag. Let's go to the fixture. Just copy that, which then goes to response header contains. So now we just have to create the rule. Great, all the tests still passed. I wonder if I do, let's see, class name, extends, assert legacy trait base. Click OK. Probably not faster than just copying that. So we have to name there. It's assert cache tag. Turns into response header contains. I keep forgetting to update this text half the time. But that's honestly something somebody can go back through and fix, in my opinion. The main part is just get it running. Somebody else can go through and fix all the discrepancies in the documentation. All right, so that passed. So assert pattern and no pattern, assert escaped and no escaped. Oh man. All right, let's go through. So this just goes to response not matches. So let's look at just copy this. Assert no pattern. Assert no pattern is that to response not matches. Fix. Now we need to actually see what uses this. We'll copy that. All right, so that would be that new formatable markup, this assert. Why isn't this even marked? Oh, it's a kernel test. So that's weird. Like some of them are deprecated in functional tests, but not in the. Oh shoot! So that might be a problem. Shoot. So this isn't a kernel test. And it's not deprecated here. Or maybe, oh, that's right. I'm not seeing deprecations here because for everything because we're in 9.0. So that could be part of it as well. Let's find another usage for assert no pattern in a functional test. Okay, so this is the one that's deprecated. We're in test. Assert no pattern. Response not matches. And it does the preg match. Okay. I'm assuming we should be fine. My one concern is, does it matter if we remove it from a kernel test versus a functional test? But I think we're okay no matter what. So let's got that. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to do assert pattern, which no pattern response matches. So we just we remove the no. I guess, let's see, we can't do it there at the same time because it's no and not. Yeah, so no. Assert. Oh, dang it. I edited the wrong file. That's what I get. All right, so this one is not. This one needs the adjustment. Insertion pattern. And now we just copy. I didn't write any tests for these yet. All right, so we've got no in the pattern. At this point, I think I am going to do, we're going to do assert pattern rector. And rename the test. Because I'm getting kind of sick of duplicating it. So we're going to do assert pattern rector and assert no pattern rector. So just import them there, and then fixture we'll have, let's rename this to be assert pattern, copy it to have assert no pattern, then copy the examples from before and run the test. So assert no pattern, we take that line, and this is the after result. So that's for no pattern. Let's do with pattern. There, this reduces a bunch of the copy and pasting. So we've got a rule running both, and it's going to run against each file. And it should pass. So anything that's like a yes or no, I'm just going to start grouping because that's just way too mind numbing to do over and over and over again. So it's assert no pattern and assert pattern rule added. We'll do the same for escaped. And just keep moving up this list. So let's do, so assert escaped. And assert no escaped. Let's edit these. So assert escaped, assert session. This is the same method name. So let's look at the examples here. Twig raw test, please be the deprecated method. Block test, be deprecated. Here we go. All right. So let's just copy the text. I'm going to do the same for assert no escaped. Again, it's the same method back and forth. And where is this used? I'll try to find a... Why, like, all right, just this. I don't even know. So sorry if this is kind of boring because it's really easy to get through these. So it's a lot of just copy paste. So sorry it's not more eventful. I have a feeling it will be when I try to work on some of these other ones, but I want to try to get the biggest, I want to try to get a lot done. I'm going for quantity over quality right now. So like this, now I'm going to do the same thing where I just group these. So assert escaped Rector. There we go. Copy the name. Let's change the namespace. Refactor the class so it renames the file. It did not though. Oh, usually it renames the file when I do that. So here we go. Let's update these rules to be assert no escaped. Import the class. Let's clean up the unused. There we go. So now we just have to go rename these, assert no escape, assert escape, and copy from the rules. All right, so that's the escape. Now we need the no escape. And run the test. Let's run this. Let's see. Okay, so that passes. So let's go ahead and commit this as well. Assert no escaped, assert escaped. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a push and update. Let's see. And then I'll update that issue. GitHub PR create. Submit the pull request. We'll load that up in a second. So this table is just, that's one thing I can't wait for is if Drupal.org does go to GitLab, which I have reservations about, full on, at least having an easier editor to work in. Instead of just, what do you want to call it? Plain HTML. That'd be the only thing I'd be happy about if we started using GitLab wholesale. So we've got, how did I strike these out before? I had to go highlight everything individually. So I did build Xpath query. I mean, luckily I can at least highlight this and click the delete button to strike it out, but I wish there was just easier. So assert header, yeah, so assert header to assert escaped. So here, delete. So not everything with open source contribution is just sunshine and feature development. You know, there's the project management aspect of it and the triaging of issues, which is just developer work, period. Because even if this was a client, you'd probably be having to do some of the same things when working through a migration. Just with a lot of data, you have checklists and tables and having to track that progress. So that those tools probably have an easier way of handling all this. All right. That's added. See what the pull request says. So that's nice seeing even more things done. Everything passed. All right. All right, so let's go through. So I have assert equal, but I didn't do assert not equal. Let's just start picking that one off. So again, assert equal. We're going to copy paste and follow the same pattern. So was it said not equal? Add assert not equal. So assert not equal goes to assert not equals. And let's just go add this to the existing assert equal test like I did the others, the previous two. So let's do assert not equal. Simplify the fully qualified class name. Fixture, let's call this as assert not equal. And rename this one to be assert equal. So assert equal has that. And we're checking assert not equal becomes assert not equals. Let's rerun this test. And then we got that one taken care of. We'll do the same for not identical. Let's commit that. I'm just going to go take care of this one right away. And while I'm at it, I know the next one is not identical. We'll do the same thing. And update that. Right. So yeah, so the next one was assert not identical, or crap. Yep, not identical. Because we don't have. I guess we got to find a way. We got to remove some of these into a different namespace. So we have assert identical, but we don't have assert not identical. It's not. Maybe I should have put all these assertions underneath an assertion namespace. So assert and assert not the same. There we go. And we'll update this rule to include assert not identical. Import that sucker. And let's see, we'll rename this to be assert identical, and assert not identical, which we said the not identical turns into assert not same. And if we run the test, we should be all green with both runners or both test samples. All right. So let's go ahead and Just push these. Assert identical object equals. Let's see. So that's another assert equals. I wonder if we could put that into the same assert equal rector or assert identical object. I'll put that into the assert identical. So let's do a rule. I'm going to comment it out because it doesn't exist yet. Assert identical object. Let's copy this file to assert identical object. We know it's this. Let me look for usages of it. Actual expected message. Okay. So assert identical object turns into just assert equals, which is weird because that's not the same that's not the same thing. Like assert identical object, you'd want assert same. Is that really? Let's look. That should not be the right replacement. They really did do assert equals. Whether it's the same object and assert equal compares, but that's the whole point of identical object. I mean, I get it, but I think that is the wrong replacement. Because if you want an identical object, you want it to be the same object, and that's exactly what it says. I don't agree with that fix or that recommendation, but that's what they chose, so that's what we'll do. So if I play this, we should receive a failing test because I didn't write that rule yet or add it. Where did I added this to assert identical? Yeah, I don't think that's right, but oh well. So it's assert identical object rector. Which goes to assert equals. The sample's probably broken here, but it's not reading the values. So it should be assert equals. Let's run the test. Oh, and configured rule. To add that. Wait, assert identical object. Oh, yeah. Need to have the name fixed. Import. Run. And there we go. So it technically should probably error. Like maybe, since it's not actually being passed an object, and under the hood it is running PHP stand, but we're not doing full static analysis here. We are just doing some basic replacement. So let's see, we now have assert identical object. Let's push that. through. So the next one is, I guess like we could do assert. Like let's just get that first one out of the way. So it would be this assert. Yep, schedule for removal, self assert true. So let's just do that nice and easy one. Do assert Rector. So it's just assert, which asserts to true. Let's say foo. So assert true is foo. Let's write the test for it. It's funny, like I'm the one who really wanted to write all the tests, and now I'm getting sick of writing the test just because it's so much boilerplate. So now this has two things in it, but just do the assert Rector. This namespace. Let's refactor the class just to be assert Rector test. Rename the file. The configure. This needs to be assert Rector. Just call the file assert. And copy the sample code. Run the test. And that passed, so woohoo. Let's push that. Oh, I'll wait to push it. Okay, so now what's next on the list? Put assert. Assert text. Why is assert text in here twice? Oh, I must have copied it in here twice. All right, so pass is the next one. Let's just do that. Which basically we can copy this here. Let's do pass Rector. Or, oh no, it's actually going to be completely different. So let's just extends abstract Rector. Removes deprecated pass. This. So let's see. This pass. So after there's nothing, Let's go back to our base and copy some of these helper methods. So get node types. So that should go, yep, should go there. Add stubs for refactor. So one thing that you always have to do is make sure that you're running on your own node. So if is an expression call to pass, we want to, how do you remove? Actually, that's a really good question. Match type, how do you remove an item? So return this node factory, remove. So this is all create. PHP Rector interface, node visitor. What does skipper do? Should skip element. Nodes to add. Nodes to remove. So let's see where this gets called. Should skip current new node. Is node removed? Should skip current node. GitHub.com, Rector PHP. Let's see, there should be a way to remove the current line. How to, all right, auto import names, create own rule, how to add test, configure rules, register custom set list, Docker, init, Rector rules overview, create your own rule. Because if you return null, it skips it, but we want to remove it. Do you want to type making rules and tests as a generate command? Oh, you gotta be. Oh, all right. I wish I knew about this. So I'm going to skip the pass actually, because I don't know how we remove the code, and I'm going to composer require dev. Oh my word. Set here, losing my mind going over this, and initialize to generate using command line. Oh, jeez. All right, so let's try it out. So PHP vendor bin rector generate interactive. Drupal 8 all deprecations does not exist, which is being imported from. Let's try this. Oh, because it wants to load from this file. I'm going to quick just comment that out to see what happens. but it's going to probably bail there. 1 second. I want to see. Man. Because this is the file that's supposed to be copied over. I just want to generate commands. Because if I can at least scaffold all of the files per me, I'd be so happy. So what I'll do, I'm going to delete rector.php and not commit that. Let's see if I can get... So init recipe. Let's see what it creates. Configure the parameters in rector recipe.php. It was added. New rector recipe. The method call, code sample. Optional, uncommon to use. So use generate to generate a new basic schema from this configuration. All right. The package name basically names part and rules source. So that might be a problem. Package name. One plus node types to change. Let's change this to Drupal Rector. We'll see what happens. Set resources, add extra file, set configuration, set file path. Set the rule belongs is optional. Generic rules don't need naming. Let's see what happens when I generate this. I have a feeling it's not going to put it in the right directory. So rules tests, Drupal Rector. So rules, okay, it created it here. I wonder if we can modify this. So set package name. So rules, Drupal Rector. Hey, thanks for the follow. So Drupal Rector method call. So we obviously use different name spacing than they expect. Set file path. So set configuration, file path, set package, set node types, set code after, detect director repository. So let's see where this package utils. Default package name, method call description. So it gives us all the good stuff, but it doesn't put it in the right directory. So let's see. What am I looking for here? This resolve category. So that's the category it goes into, which means that our current namespacing is going to be overridden. Which I guess is not the end of the world because we can just sort that out. Just set file path, get file path. I want to see what this does with the file path. Generate command. Set file path, append to Rector service set. Test case generate. Resolve test case, generate file paths. Resolve test case, generate is generate test file path. Get rid of the file from. Well, if we use it, we can at least move it around. The main thing is I love that it automatically fixes this. Services set Rector Drupal Rector. Maybe this is actually going to be more work than it's worth. So let's just bail on that and remove this, and we'll try it again another day. So let's go. So I'm skipping pass, and I'm going to go to element present. So let's go ahead. It's going to be just like the assert equal. So we'll assert element present, because it's element present, not present. So let's add it. Configure rule, assert element present, and that will also be the not present. And I haven't written these rules yet, so that's going to give me the nice little error because the classes don't exist. So not present. Configure assert equal is assert present, and assert not equal is assert not present. This assert equal test. Oh, I'm going to be so mad at myself because I edited everything in the wrong folder. Element present. Let's roll this back. And roll those back. Element present Rector fixture. We can copy these over. There we go. So we should be back in business now. All right, we'll just ditch the test until I get the source added. So go to Rector. We've got assert element present. Let's add it, rename, assert element present Rector. That's the deprecated method name. Goes to assert session for element exists. Let's go find an example to copy. Nothing really. Poop. Let's just grab the end result and fix it here. So it fixes the deprecated assert element calls. And now we do assert element not present, which is the flip-flop. Right, assert element not present, assert element not present. Choose element not exists. All right, let's go back to the configured rule. Assert element present, import it. assert element not present and import it. Delete the old references. So not present would be this line of code as the sample, and then this as the after result, which means the present will be this dude right here. The proper copy and paste. And now run it. And I should fix the namespace in test name. All right, let's run. And hopefully I did not do something stupid where I edited the wrong files. Rerun it. Oh boy. Element not present. Rector. I'm going to roll this change back too. Hey, thanks for the follow. All right, so I've got the rector rule. Assert element not present to element not exists, to assert element. Oh, shoot. I see what I did wrong. These are on the assert method. If I would have paid attention, I would have noticed that right here. So let's rerun the test. It's funny how like sometimes this tedious work is the most mind-numbing. Like my brain is feeling so fried already now. Compared to when I built like some quick static analysis last Friday to find candidates for Drupal core of classes that should be marked final. Like that, it felt great. This is like, my brain is melting. All right, so I'm going to commit these two and update the issue summary to clear these out. I mean, technically they're not done because it's not merged, but they will be once we merge this pull request. All right. Commit. Push it up. All right, so we're getting there. Assert text. Wait. Yeah, I must have copied in the assert text twice. Nope, they just had it in here twice. So let's go clean that up. All right, so I cleaned that up, removed that. So we'll do the same thing where we have assert text. We're just going to create the assert no text and add it to the same thing here. So let's go fixture. This is assert text. Let's refactor to rename it to be assert text. Copy and paste to assert no text. And say assert text, assert no text, and change it to page text not contains. So we had to make a decision. It either mapped to page text not contains or response not contains, but I feel like anybody that's using this probably is asserting HTML text and not JSON data. But we still make a note for them so that way they can make sure. So I've got the test. Let's go to configured rule. We're going to do assert no text rule, which we know does not exist yet. So let's go create it. Assert text, assert no text. Oop, closed everything I didn't mean to. So we need to verify the assertion, page not contains, and response not contains. The past text, blah, blah, blah. So it was assert no text, and we're making it page text not contains. Got to update these. Process args. All right. So let's go run this test because now that's valid. And make sure that the fixtures still pass. Awesome. So that takes care of assert no text. I wish that the rule generator would work, but it just assumes a specific directory structure. Like if I look at Rector Symphony, they don't even have it set up that way either. So I'm gonna, yeah, they don't even have it set up that way. It's rules and rules test to see if we can customize that a better way. So now we're going to do assert unique text, which page text contains once or page text matches count. Assert no unique text if you know the cardinal. That looks complicated. So we're going to, I think, skip some of the more complicated ones that require logic and follow those up and go for all the ones that are very straightforward. Because I've got 30 minutes left in this stream before I always close out at 4 p.m., make them 2 hours long. Today I definitely can't go long because catching a baseball game. So let's see. We have assert field by name, assert no field by name. See if that's one that would be easy to have copied. Do like a copy paste. Assert field by name. So we don't even try to do the button not exist because we don't know if they're trying to find a button. We just do field exists. Oh, sorry. So I'm just going to skip that one. Assert field by ID, assert field, assert no field. No. Let's just go to a bunch of these. So assert raw, we have assert no raw. Assert no raw. Response not contains. Copy and paste. This should probably just be a trait that says remove extra arguments, but can do that later. And by say do that later probably means never will happen, but so this is assert raw. Now we need to make assert no raw. Response not contains. And update the configuration to include assert no raw. Run the test. This is so many little things. All right, we'll do assert title for title equals. Again, what's a good one to just copy and paste? It does go to the assert session. We'll just do this. Assert title. Assert title rector. So it's assert title to assert session title equals. Let's copy an example from the real world. So that then becomes this assert session title equals. Now we create a test. It's getting harder to just copy and paste some of these because they all have knots. Although I didn't do that here. So let's do assert title rector. Let's add it and text assert title config is assert title rector. Simplify that, remove the unused statement. Fixture simple. Let's copy it from the rule. Let's rename. Rename the file. That we've got the example. Let's run. Wait, right? Assert title. Title equals. Let's run the test. Well, that's running. Realize that I'm going to update this to be assert cache tag. I'm going to consolidate these two. Assert no cache tag. Run the test. It passed. All right. So while I'm doing this, I'm also going to clean up this assert no cache tag. Drag it here. I'm going to rename it to assert no cache tag. Run this to make sure it goes through, and then I can delete this extra folder now that we've combined the assert and the no assert. All right, so delete that. Yeah, so there, that one's okay. This is the assert title. Let's just do a commit and push, and I'll update the issue summary. So assert raw, done. Assert no raw, done. Assert title, done. Assert no, cut out those details so that way it's easier to go through and see what remains. And the next part will be, I guess we'll do assert link. So we have assert link by ref and no ref. Assert no field by ID. So I feel like that could be taken care of inside of assert no field by name. Field not exists. Field not exists. So that's some of them. So assert by ID is actually by name. So maybe we could do this assert session or field value equals Why would assert field by ID be field value equals? So some of these ones are more complex, but could be reused by existing ones. But maybe we could handle this assert field real quick. Or no, I want to go through. Yeah, let's look at assert field. I want to do something that's maybe a little bit more fun. So this assert field is one example. So assert field checked at the field, assert field by Xpath. So let's see. It says it can use field exists or button exists, which is exactly what is an assert field by name. Wrong way. So my thought was assert field by name rector is we could just check if the method name is also assert field. Let's see. But that might not be as easy as I was thinking. So I'm just going to keep going on the easy conversions to make the best use of my time. So these ones will need a little bit more looking into. I'll just go to assert link. Again, probably can just do this. Assert no escaped can be assert link. And also assert no link. So assert no link, assert no link. Just copy and pasting all over the place. Let's see for any usages of just copy that. This is actually assert link. I realized I did it backwards. So assert no link is link not exists. All right, so we've got the, why does it say this is being used? So we've got assert link rector, assert no link. Oh man, no, I just realized I've been adding all these things and not including them in here. So we definitely have some more work to do as we get through this, because they need to be, so the unit tests are passing, but the functional testing would fail. So that is definitely one thing that has to be done. I'll have to go through and add that as we go. But where was I? The link rector. I copied that from the raw. Let's just do the same thing. So assert link rector. Configured rules. Assert link. Assert no link. Should really run PHP CS against the test too instead of just the main. directory, I think. So fixture, let's rename this to be assert no link. And this is assert link. And refactor the class name to be assert Rector link test. Rename the file. Delete this copy paste nonsense I've polluted everywhere, and get the rules set up, or the test set up. So the example is assert the link after his link exists, and then for no link it is just about the same. Well, it is the same, just now it has the word changed in it. Run the test. And while that's running, I should really get some of this added in. I'm going to go down the list so we can do assert legacy trait items. See, don't need to really put the link. I don't think anybody's done that before, but I'm going to for this because it's just such a huge amount. The run past, so we have services set, assert Rector, so the assert Rector, we have the assert equal Rector, assert not equal, not equal, the identical, assert identical, not identical, assert identical object, I'll make a to do for the pass Rector. Assert element present. And the not present. Actually, I kind of like putting the to-dos right here because then we know what's been done and where they need to be placed as well. Let's do this quick. Replace these. So element not present, assert text. There we go. Now it's assert no text. Import the class. So to do, assert Rector class, assert no unique. Because this will probably be the last, since the sponsorship's over, this will be one of the last streams I do for a while on Rector. I have a few things I need to go on to. So I want to make sure I leave this in a good documented state for as more people contribute to this. So we'll do services set, assert response Rector, right? Class. We then have assert field by name, assert field by name Rector. We have to do with that one by field ID. assert field, and assert no field. Rector. Field no field, then assert raw. And assert no raw. Assert title. Link, I just did, right? No. Yep. Okay. So assert link. So those I'm going to cross off the list before I forget. Assert no link. Link not exist. All right, and then finish up with this configuration file. Okay, so another to do. How about I just stop adding the class? So it's link, it's no link by ref. Assert no field by ID. Okay. Option. Actually, I think there's a way better way I could do this. I got an idea. Not that. No option. Option selected. Field checked. No field checked. Field by Xpath. No field by Xpath. Oh, man. Okay. Fields by value. So now, if I just do the multi-cursor magic, there we go. Bulk processing. Services set. Next one, assert escaped. Then no escaped. Oh, this is like mind numbing. Assert pattern, no pattern. Well, it's not like no mind numbing. This is mind numbing. Cache tag. Assert no cache tag. Assert header. Build Xpath. And then the remaining. All right. Yeah. So everything's been added. that is a rule, and the placeholders for missing rules have been added so that way we can track them properly. Add assert link rule, assert no link rule, register rules. So let's do commit and push. I want to make sure that pull request is still passing. Where did I send it to? Or where was it at? Here we go. Second PR. Let's comment that. So wait for all this to pass before I sign off. So it's not everything. I really thought I would be able to get through everything. But it's a lot to be added. Yeah. Oh, man. I was hoping for more, but this is still a lot. The list is about halfway done. The functional test is passing, which that needs to get run against Drupal 9. Or, well, it is, but we need more sample tests that are running to verify that the rules are all in place. But this is a good start. Let's see what I can quick get added in before I do sign off. Let's see. I guess I'm just going to go for these by ref, because it is just like I did for the link. It's just assert link by ref. Which it replaces with link by ref exists. Insert no link, which is no link by ref. Paste those in. And again, it should be a path that's passed in. Okay, now to quick go copy the test. Open these for the examples. Let's copy assert link rector, because it's assert link by ref. I have no idea if that's how anybody else says it, but I say ref. I was always curious what others may say. And refactor, rename, test, rename the class. There we go. Configured rule. By ref. All right, let's try to do some multi-cursor action here to just get it all done. By ref. Great. That is awesome. It's done. That's the rule. Let's go to the fixture. Rename the file so that way it's consistent. Rename assert link by Ref, I'm going to copy that because that's a lot of typing, and I am lazy when it comes to typing. Assert no link. Copy the before. Copy the after. All right. Copy the before. And the after, and then run the test. And register these. So assert link by, assert no link by. There. All right. That should do it. Again, I really thought I was going to be able to get through them all. But I was way too optimistic. Even with my little side quests and trying to standardize a few things and use the generated command, still kicked my butt for all the copy and pasting that had to happen. So push that. Let's go ahead and update this. And then I need to go get ready to get the kids ready for a ball game. All right, so thanks to Palantir.net for their sponsorship to develop on Drupal Rector. It's been an honor to work on this, and I'm really excited because we're really far. Well, we're oodles and caboodles ahead of where we could be. I think in this one of these issues, Gabor posted that fixing even these base ones that if the top above have been resolved, like all of these, that is 57% of the identified deprecations, which is about 20,000 to 35,000 instances across all contrib. So even though I didn't finish this list right here, it's probably going to be a huge amount of automated deprecations fixed. So it's not everything, but it's still a pretty big chunk. And this is still passing. So there we go. Thanks for tuning in and have a good day.